This is a quick analysis of the data that we've gathered relating to the tourism economy, including hotel occupancy rates as well as the short-term rental accommodation market, including Airbnb. So first of all, we've got the hotel occupancy data, which is actually showing that we're slightly down year over year, particularly with the accommodation on Saturday nights. In July, the data was almost on parity with last year, as you can see also over here on the left-hand side. But coming into August, perhaps with the concerns over what was going on in Victoria, we saw a drop-off. So we're about 10% behind in occupancy rate for Saturday nights. As you can also see, the peaks of the weekend. So Friday, Saturday night seems to be when most of our occupancy is. We do appear to be reasonably full capacity overall, even though we're down. So generally over 80% on weekends. Now, moving into the Airbnb data that we've gathered, as you can see, most of it is in the coastal community stretching from Pearl Beach up through Umina and Nettlong, Killcare Heights, and then up through the coast up to Entrance, and also up at Budgie as well. Year over year change, we've again seeing that Bateau Bay is down for Airbnbs. Terrigal is a little bit down in the current month for August compared to last year. If we go back to July again, similar with the hotel data, the July data was looking a bit stronger. The occupancy rates were up around 50% for Airbnbs up the coast. We've since gathered a bit more data in August, but again, with this time series, you can see the drop off in August. Occupancy rates overall on the coast are down to 29%, meaning that there's approximately 70% of them are vacant, and that is the overall average. I do have a split by weekend and weekday, but that's the overall average for the month, for each of those months. If we look at some of the suburbs in isolation, for example, Avoca Beach, Terrigal, the Entrance, we can see the normal January spike where we get to the highest occupancy rates, and we can see in some locations such as Avoca, it was actually higher in July than it was at Christmas, and about on parity with Terrigal, and higher again at the Entrance. The Entrance has been doing really well, but all of these have dropped off according to the July data. This is drilling into a bit more detail. We can sort of see the relationship between the supply and occupancy, as well as the percent of dwellings in each suburb that are Airbnbs. The time series again shows us the January and July spikes, which are fairly similar. If we compare July with the previous July in 2019, we can see that it's a lot higher. Interestingly, if we look at some of these suburbs that have most of the supply, such as Terrigal and the Entrance and Umina, their percentage of properties that are Airbnb or short-term rental is actually lower. Where we seem to have the biggest dominance of Airbnb properties is in some of the smaller suburbs like Pearl Beach, Killcare Heights, Copacabana and Avoca, where the percentage of properties that are being rented out as Airbnbs is quite high. But also they are suburbs that also have low residential vacancy rates. So we've got a potential housing issue there in the future unless it's addressed. Looking at the short-term rental data, this includes the stays data as well as Airbnb. We can see some metrics looking at occupancy rates, the percent vacancy and supply and revenue also by suburbs. So if we were to look at all properties, we're estimating, this is for the month of August, that the total revenue is over 3 million, over 3.5 million collected by the owners. This is just for the bookings, obviously not for other ancillary revenue spend that we would typically get with a hotel stay, such as the restaurants and all the other things that go with that. This is just on the revenue being collected by the primarily Sydney-based short-term rental owners. If we were to look at, say, the weekends, we'll see that the occupancy rate is higher. Particularly if we look at Airbnbs, we can see that that's higher, almost 43%. But during the week, a lot of these properties are empty. And again, this gives us a view of comparison by the different suburbs. So if we look at weekday, we can see the different occupancy rates during the week for the different locations. And finally, this is just another view comparing the residential vacancy rates with the Airbnb occupancy rates, and we can see that pretty much all of the suburbs have a vacancy rates below 1%. Some of these locations have Airbnb percentage of the properties that are over 10%, particularly in the southern part of the Central Coast.